But first, a big move from President Biden on immigration. Today, he signed executive actions that amount to his toughest move so far to control the number of migrants coming across the border. They allow migrants to be deported before their asylum claims are processed and come after Republicans blocked bipartisan immigration reform earlier this year, twice.
We must face the simple truth. To protect America as a land that welcomes immigrants, we must first secure the border and secure it now.
Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cortez and immigration reporter Camilo Montoya-Galvez joins us now with more. Camilo, it's great to see you. Can you walk us through the details of this executive action? Explain how it could impact the number of border crossings.
Hi, Weija. Yes, starting at 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time, there will be a dramatic shift in policy here at the U.S. Mexico border. That is when President Biden's new executive action on immigration will take effect, rendering most migrants here who cross into the country illegally ineligible for U.S. asylum. It will also allow U.S. immigration officials to quickly deport those migrants who cross unlawfully back to Mexico across the Rio Grande in Texas or the desert in New Mexico, California, and Arizona, quickly without processing their asylum claims or to their home countries, whether it's Venezuela, China, Honduras, other countries throughout the world where migrants are coming from. And so this would be a dramatic shift in policy. Importantly, asylum processing will continue at official legal ports of entry, where the Biden administration, Weija, is currently processing roughly 1,500 migrants per day. And this emergency authority will not be lifted, we understand, Weija, until the weekly average of daily illegal border crossings falls below 1,500, something that has not happened in years. So we should expect this order to be in place for the time being, unless it is blocked in federal court.
And Camilo, you've been reporting on this now for several months, that this option was always on the table. Officials were working out various details. So why is the White House pulling the trigger on this executive order now?
That is the million-dollar question, Weija. The administration would argue that they are taking unilateral action in the absence of congressional action on immigration. As you know, Congress has been desperately gridlocked on the issue of border and immigration policy for decades. The last significant reform to the system was in the 1990s, and recently a bipartisan compromise that would have enacted a similar asylum restriction collapsed in Congress twice because it lacked sufficient Republican support. So they are now trying to go on the political offensive. The administration is arguing that they are taking political and policy action on this issue, while Republicans are in many ways obstructing any progress and compromise. Also, we have to underscore that the administration knows and the president knows, Weija, that this is a very tricky political issue for him heading into his re-election campaign. As you know, immigration is one of his worst polling issues.
And Camilo, he certainly made some of those points today when we heard from President Biden. Nancy, the president was clearly trying to do a delicate dance, appearing to be tough on the border, but also acknowledging concerns from members of his own party that he is reverting to the same actions that former President Trump used, which, of course, he once criticized. What did you make of his remarks today?
Well, we heard him say in various ways, Weija, that he is only doing this because Congress has failed to act. He came right out of the gate swinging at Republicans, saying that they have left him no choice, arguing that he had hoped that this would be handled by a bipartisan immigration deal that had been struck by Democrats and Republicans in the Senate with the help of the White House that failed, in part because former President Trump urged Republicans to walk away from it. He argued that he could get a better deal once he's back in office if he wins re-election. And so President Biden said, look, he didn't want to take executive action. It's very clear, as Camilo pointed out, that this is likely to be challenged in the courts. The ACLU is already vowing to sue. Executive action is inherently more risky legally than congressional action. But the president said his hands were tied. He waited to see if they'd do anything on Capitol Hill, and clearly the answer is no.
And Nancy, you're right. I remember covering this with you. And at certain points, it seemed like maybe senators were actually going to get somewhere until, of course, Trump started putting pressure on them. And that is something that Biden talked about today. I want to play some of what he said and talk more on the other side.
We came to a clear bipartisan deal. It was the strongest border security agreement in decades. But then Republicans in Congress, not all, but walked away from it. Why? Because Donald Trump told them to. He told the Republicans, it has been published widely by many of you, that he didn't want to fix the issue. He wanted to use it to attack me. I would have preferred to address this issue through bipartisan legislation, because that's the only way to actually get the kind of system we have now that's broken, fixed, to hire more Border Patrol agents, more asylum officers, more judges. But Republicans have left me with no choice.
Nancy, how often do you think we're going to hear that messaging from President Biden in the campaign, reminding voters that it was Republicans who blocked the bill?
Right. They're going to need to make that case over and over again, because as we've seen in polling for months, if not years, voters put immigration at not at the top, but close to the top of their list of priorities. And they consistently give Donald Trump higher marks on immigration than they do President Trump. I think it's no accident that this is taking place just a few weeks before the first presidential debate, which is coming later in June. President Biden wants to be able to hit back at former President Trump when Trump inevitably goes on the offense on immigration, even though, as Camilo can describe better than anyone, we are down from those record border crossings that we saw back in the winter, back in November and December, for a variety of reasons. And yet immigration and illegal border crossings still are historically high.
Nancy Cordes and Camilo Montoya-Galvez, we are so grateful for both of your reporting. Thank you.